So hello and welcome. The Donny Chaingang. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here all the way through the Chaingang. We had a busy week last week, and I got to say a massive thank you to everybody who made that happen. It was really important that we got a really good. A good event, and I've got to say a big thank you to everybody who really did look after the chain gang and was really careful when we were out, and particularly on Thursday night we all were rolling in together given the news that we had. So a big thank you everyone. It has been a busy week over last week and into the weekend, and I've got to say we were out and had an XE coming from Paris from the studios here at Full Speed Events. We've also had two rides to esports cycling races on the Sunday that we stream out live to everybody, a men's and a women's race. And then after that, we had the Hardwick Hill Climb where a lot of our riders either rode or cheered on and supported. So a massive thank you to everybody from DCG who went out, cheered, supported, did all of the usual stuff as we'd expect from the DCG, and a few of them managed to get the go as well. As you would know that I wouldn't be able to resist it. In fact, by the end of the weekend, it was definitely a few scrambled brain cells on my part, and I think there might have been a few burning lungs and legs at the top of the hill climb. Great night. Make sure you go next year. Cracking event, and great to see everybody on there. Now, riders joining thick and fast on the chain gang. You can see them just over there, just starting to line up. The event field being populated slowly but surely, and I think what we can do is, first of all, say a massive thank you to all the members of the DCG gang. They're the Donny Chaingang Sports Clubs. They're the guys who basically keep the show on the road, keep the wheels turning, and enable Russ and I to spend the time in making sure all this happens. So a big thank you. All those links going out directly to the members first, as well as great discounts. So everybody who rides the DCG, registers to ride, gets a 10% discount off OTE, for example. However, if you're a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Sports Club, 25% discount off OTE. And got to say a big thank you for OTE. That and Get Me Round today. I was out during the morning this morning and had a bit of a tough time. Thank goodness I had the OTE kit with me, because otherwise I wouldn't have been getting back. We wouldn't have been having a show tonight, because I'd probably still be in a little hole somewhere out near Clumber Park at that point. The DCG gang brought to you because these guys up here look after the members of the DCG gang. 1080, OTE, Gritty, Velaskin, Halo, Continental, and of course Nonners. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, support the people who support the chain gang. It's really simple. These guys look after the members pay money and donate in to the gang, and that means you get a ride. It's so simple. It really works. Dead simple, dead easy. If you can do it, great. If you can't, if you can only donate on an ad hoc basis, then please do so. It all helps replace kit, pay for umpteen phone lines, make sure that Russ and I are able to take the time to do this. So a massive thank you to the companies up there. Right, let's jump into where we are heading today as we go in just under 5 minutes to go. We have our Sand and Sequoias course, 45 kilometres in total. And that is going to be on one of our favourite courses in terms of Sand and Sequoias. It's a long lead-in, 2.4k from the Pens into the lead-in, and that lead-in is up to the rock arch, the Fuego Flats rock arch, and then it's 2 full laps. So there are basically 3 times you'll see this arch. Once when we start the first lap, once when we start the second lap, and once when you come to the finish. Key to know where that is. One down then of 2.2k. Gives you a little bit of a chance to recover before that blue banner. Spin your legs out. Remember, this is a ramped session. It's designed to make you suffer, but it is designed so that you can recover afterwards, and warming down is really, really key to that. So let's take a closer look at the map and, of course, our yellow beacon. So Sun and Sequoias heads out basically from the red lines at the top, from the Pens in through the red section, into the sprint through Fuego Flats, our little icon just on its way through now, in through the orange, and heads out. So basically out on the red, through the orange and onto the lap proper. The lap proper goes in through the oasis in the canyon, comes across through the Las Vegas copy, out through into Sequoias, into the top of Titans Grove, comes through Titans Grove KM, down the other side, wiggling its way through the mud pools and the mud pits, and then back out. 2 full laps of that is a total of 49.6k with the run in. Remember that number, it's absolutely key. Now, Yellow Beacon is Russ Downing, a man who needs no introduction. The Bear, Fonzie Downing, the former national champion, multi-time crit champion, as well, of course, as being a rider who's ridden at the down at the Olympics. So just follow what he does, do what he says, all is good. Now, the other man charged with looking after everybody is Keith Richardson. Red Beacon, and originally home from the tourist destination that is 1080. And got to say a big thank you to 1080. Keith's sporting a particularly good jersey for tonight because it's Red Beacon. He's got a red Sunweb jersey on there. And I think this is actually at the top of Mount Tidy, to be honest. So a man who should be able to handle the terrain we've got tonight. Now, let's take you across to what this unpacks as when it comes in terms of a profile up here. And we've got to say a big thank you to the guys at VeloViewer. Once again, VeloViewer doing the business. Make sure you have a look on it. Using it on Sunday night, for example, on the Hardwick Hill Climb. Really key to know the profile, where the steep sections are, exactly how long it is, what the gradient is. And that's exactly what we get on here. So make sure you give them a subscribe. The membership's really cheap. As long as you're on Strava, it will download, unpack all of your data. And when we take a look at it, this is what it looks like. So essentially, the big lumpy bit is Titans Grove. We head out from essentially the 0k marker, and that is on the way, basically the bottom right hand square, going up around the circuit in a clockwise direction twice. So the first part of the circuit is basically pancake flat. The second part of the circuit is hilly, bumpy, twisty, turny, and very tricky indeed. So that's where we're heading. That's what the terrain looks like. Remember, 2 full laps of this will bring us into our finish. And you do need to make sure you stay around yellow. And of course, all this possible thanks to the guys up there. Make sure you support them. They're the guys who basically enable us to keep on bringing you not just the show, but the ride full stop. So really, really important that you keep your eye on that. Our riders down on the grid, and you can just see it at the moment. That field filling nicely. I think 79 riders on there at the moment, and we should be hitting about 100, I think, as we head in. I know there's going to be a few late joiners on the way through. So our riders are just about to head out and away. Let's make sure we give them a follow as we head out. We're onto the clock, so watch your own clocks now. We're going to switch ours off here. The riders are lined up and ready to go. Who is going to lead us out today? Well, I think we may well jump in with a man who is likely to be the fastest man of the day. So away go the riders, and as we can see, the riders departing. They've all got to get themselves off from that start. We're going to jump around. We're just in with Kieran Brown at the moment. I picked him because I figured he'd be fast off from the start, but looks like, come on, thank you very much, Kieran. So Kieran just getting a run up from the start here. Don't make me panic, mate. That's just not me. That's just mean. That's really mean. So Kieran heading out onto the course. Let's drop in the audio that comes in from the course. Our helicopter already out and up in the skies at the moment. We're just watching Kieran now. And let's just get that helicopter shot if we can here. So you just see that gang, the yellow and red beacon, just forming up at the back of the gang. And good to see we've got Crosscaster Neil in here. It's not all that long since I was talking with Neil. In fact, we've just recorded our next show. I'm just going to try and get a view of him here. So Neil was busy recording and editing, no doubt. The latest Crosscast is our next episode with guest host as well joining us, and it was good fun and great to catch up with everybody. And you can just see Neil from the Crosscast from Gritty in here. So Crosscast Neil riding, and of course Gritty, one of our key supporters. They've been with us since we started the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So please, guys, make sure you give them some support. If you're a member of the DCG gang, don't forget, of course, discount codes in your members emails come out at the weekend. They come out generally about 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, and generally on Thursday mornings, with all of the links, not just of course to the team and the rides and the views, the videos, but of course it is also about making sure that you support the people who support the sport. So let's take a little bit of a run back. We're just going to take a little run down. Looks like Mark Grant's still stuck on the start line, along with our full speed events avatar. At the moment, Pete Drabble just on his way through, and you can just see Pete, one of our real fast riders, and going for a full-on aero bike here, along with disc and deep rim. And in fact, you can just see the pillar of yellow. That's our beacon. That's our yellow beacon up here. So here we go. So it looks like Julie Leodis just taking a run up the road to just go up there. We are going to just whip the sound up from the studio. So we actually have a limiter on there just because we don't want to blow everybody's eardrums off. We'll take it as far as we dare before it goes pop. But there is a reason that we keep it reasonably low, because of course when I get excited at the end of the ride, it does go right off the top of the scale. So here we go. And Pete Drabble just rolled his way in. Julie Leonardo, one of the heroes of the Hardwick hill climb. Julie just making her way around these turns on a much more sensible bike than the Brompton that she did the hill climb on. Well, for this ride anyway, the Bromptons definitely have a place. So let's have a little look. So let's see how they are going on. Looks like Julie at the moment, 157 beats per minute. Got a few people just rolling back. Looks like Keith just taking a roll back. That's our red beacon here. So let's get a look at Keith. So you make their way up here. Julie saying thank you. No, thank you. You made my life a lot easier. Give me something really interesting to talk about. The guys on the way up, and it was Terminator T1. That's Sonia. Sorry, it is of course going to not be Sonia. Sonia was in on the highlighted the Superbike. It was Maddie Smith at Terminator. It was Sonia Inslee and of course Julie Leonardo, who are our three musketeers who rode the Hardwick hill climb in the dark on the Bromptons. Just to keep us entertained. Maddie taking the win, and Sonia and Julie tied with a 1 minute 32 if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. I mean, it's 2:32 to be fair. It was a long day of broadcasting, it has to be said. So through the arch, yes, that was indeed the finish. That archway there behind us is the finish. And remember, the riders are now starting to head out onto lap number 1. You can see a few people dropping those steam rolls. There's not really anywhere on this course that they come in handy, that is for sure. Doesn't do you much good tonight. So let's take a check. Let's see who else is rolling around at the back of the gang. Mr. Thorpe tucked in here. Just going to take a look. Yep, still sporting the beard on the disc and the deeper wheel at the moment. So working well. And remember, guys, you need to be tucked into that group. So Drabble just pushing his way up towards the gang. Here looks like Liam Calloway just on his way up there as well. Just having to work to get up into the pack at the moment. So probably a few breadcrumbs needed for our riders who are just joining us to get back on. Pete Drabble, I know, very, very quick indeed. I'm just watching the rest of the riders. Mark Grant, Mr. Mark, jump out, rejoin. We've got late join on. It will get you back in. Same for anyone who's out the back. So Mark, jump out, then rejoin the event. You will find yourself back in, not in Fields of Wheat, not in Elysium, but back on the Chaingang. Sure, that's a song title. So here we go. The riders just coming in and through. Looks like Keith just going back. Let's see if Mark takes the advice and jumps out. He jumps back in again. So just taking a look up the road. Vin Donny in here. Vin, of course, one of our red beacons last time. And, of course, one of the people responsible for the in real life meetups from the DCG gang in there, and doing an amazing job of that. We're just going to take a little bit of a hunt. I think the partner in crime Terminator T1, T2, in fact, is here. So Tracy Seeley, you've lost the all-in-black kit, Tracy. Gone back to a traditional Rafa Cycling Club kit here. So Tracy in the gang here, working well. So it's like just watching Kieran Brown. Just going to have a little look at Kieran's bike. Sometimes he rides on the mountain bike just to really upset everybody. But going for the lightweight wheels, aero wheels though, on the way through. Looks like just going past Matt Nunn. Can see that we've got Jeff Saso on here. Jeff, of course, from Continental. Continental, one of our key supporters. So they make the way around. So looks like he's working well at the moment. So if you are watching the live feed and you are thinking that you have a tech issue and you're going to jump back in, just be aware that we are getting a warning that some people are struggling to get back in again. But we do have riders who've come in on the late join. So it's a bit hit and miss. Keep trying, basically, is the word out there. It may well be that if you've not had an update done to the operating system you're on, you might not be able to get back in again. We're just waiting for confirmation to come back on that if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live and you're wondering what it's all about, welcome to the Donny Chaingang. My name's Matt Payne. For my sins, professional commentator from all sorts of different disciplines, including e-cycling as well as indoor cycling. That's inclusive like artistic cycling, mountain bike, commentated on downhill, on world championships, pretty much all mountain bike disciplines, track, road, you name it, pretty much. If it's got two wheels, if it's a bike ride, then I'm there, and doing a lot of remote work as well. So if you've heard anything of the mountain bike XCE recently, for example, that's yours truly there as well. So make sure that you give us a follow. It's Matt Fixpain on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Strava, and on Zwift. Don't forget, of course, give at Full Speed Events a follow. Whilst you're on, make sure you follow our ride leaders. For the DCG, that's the Donny Chaingang, it's the Tuesday and Thursday gang. It is the one and only Russ Downing. If you are out and about and want to go on the WOW DCG, if you're one of our women on the Chaingang, then the WOW DCG headed up by Emma. That's at Biking Emma. And you can get hold of Emma on there, send messages about what you do in the ride, what you've been up to. And don't forget that is the case. Yeah, I'm all right. Oh, I don't think he actually means me. Just getting a shout back from Keith Richardson back to Matt Nunn. He's getting back on again, apparently, says the screen. So here we go, Matt Nunn, our official time keeper and lap counter, on his way back in again. And interesting that both riders, I think, are in the same strip here today. We're just going to take a little bit of a look as they come through. Yep, certainly are. So they're going to make nice teammates at the back of the gang here at the moment. So the red beacon at the moment just turned Matt Nunn back on again. The gang pretty much staying together. Just a few people needing the assistance of our red beacon. That is our sweeper, known as the red bus, the order bus or similar. And that pulls everybody back in to the gang. They're there to encourage, to support, to give a helping hand, to offer moral encouragement. And if you can, please, guys, If you join the ride, let them know if you're not going to stay in the ride. So if you're going to finish early, if you're just recovering and there's no way you're going to stay with the gang, let them know so that they are there to help everybody rather than staying back and getting stuck with somebody who basically is going to be a long way back. So please, guys, make sure that you keep that in mind on your way through. So it's like everybody back together again. The whole of the gang all together. Just got the gang at the back. So Keith working well, keeping it smooth on the way through. And certainly looks to me like Keith just bringing everybody back on board. Now let's have a little look. Got Isaac Oliver in here. Tom Hepton's back in. Interesting. Tom, of course, one of the real fast men of the peloton in the grey and black there. He's got a Tron bike underneath him, so the best all-round bike on Zwift. Looking pretty smooth at the moment. Looks like we've got a power dropout for at least one of our riders. I think that might be Mr. Nunn again, who's got a bit of an issue. Matt Nunn, what does the Anvil power-up do? Jump on to Zwift Insider and have a hunt. It's really important you know what your power-ups do and when they're going to work. Ideally, simultaneously do that whilst you're riding around. Noob, I know. No, you're not, mate. You're not, I promise. Right, just taking a little bit of a hunt back in and through. Jimmy Allen in here. Finley Hudson back in the gang. Got Jimmy in here. Jimmy, of course, the standing rider. Just trying to work our way through the riders at the minute. Gussie Dixon Mill is in here. Apparently Steve James is on the gang. Good to see Steve on. I know Steve registering for a few. Real fast men when it comes to being off-road. I'm loving the fact there's a little bit of strategy going on. Telling Matt Nunn it all helps on the climb. To see tickets here, some great videos on our Facebook group page on its way through. It looks like we're just going to be heading in and through the middle of the Wild West, heading in towards the far side of the Vegas area. Just gone past the garage in the middle of nowhere. It's proper banjo time out there. So here we go, the gang just on its way in through Vegas, and you can just see as we follow Russ in and through. The gang still holding together nicely. Remember, if you're a stronger rider, make sure you're going back to help those riders who are struggling at the back, maybe just having dropouts, tech issues on the way through. Don't forget, of course, whilst you're on, make sure that you get yourselves sorted. If you join DCG Gang, then the DCG Gang, of course, bring you all of those discounts, all of those links coming direct. You can literally join at the start of each week, both of the rides, and it will get you into the rides. You get preferential treatment. Why is that, I hear you ask? Well, guess what? You're the guys who we have to look after, because you guys basically make the Chaingang happen, who donate regularly. It's our way of saying thank you. You get the links in front of everybody else. Everyone else needs to register. Now, all of our riders are registered. There's a couple of reasons for that. In part so that we know who is on the gang and can talk about you endlessly, but just as importantly, if not more importantly, so that we can make sure the gang is well controlled. There is only one Donny Chaingang. The riders who are on it at the moment all behave. The days of having Muppets going flying off the front are pretty few and far between these days, and that is one of the reasons for that, is because not just because the gang patrol that, but also Because if people do, generally they'll get a phone call from me. Then they'll get a nicely asked not to throw a flyer and disrupt the gang and basically make it difficult for everybody else and wait for that trigger signal from Russ or from Emma. And then if that doesn't work, we have put people on a temporary or a permanent ban and excluded from them from the events. And that is why we have such a well-behaved thing. But we do have that method of taking people out. It happens very, very rarely. Generally, once everybody gets the idea, everybody jumps on and rides. There's loads of rides that go from the guns. There's loads of rides where everybody just acts and does their own thing. The Donny Chaingang is there. It's there, and it was the spirit of the Chaingang was really shown on Thursday. And a massive thank you to everybody who did that. Now here we go. We are on what is known as a bit of a drag. 3% up here. It's going to be pretty interesting to see whose legs are working well to the change in gradient. So here we go. Let's see who knows when they need to hit the right power-ups on the way through. I think I can see towards the back of the gang already a feather going in. That's going to make you about 10% light it. So let's have a little bit of a look. The gang just starting to split a little bit behind Mr. Pritchard there. Remember, if you're at the front, you need to be watching what the back of the gang is doing. It is really important to keep a look down on there. Of course, the different dynamics for our different riders is absolutely key. The split on the front looks like not going too far up the road. Don't forget, of course, Big Brother is watching. If my big brother's watching, he's my little brother, but he's a lot bigger than I am. You do know that, of course, he will jump all over you. And at 100 kilos of Thai boxing lunatic, he's not somebody to mess with. I guarantee it. Don't care how big and strong you think you are, you're not. I had to fight with him as a kid. It was not good news, definitely. Dale Williams, 50 kilo help, yeah, if only. So let's have a look. So here we go. Just keeping an eye on the riders at the moment. A quick reminder, please, guys. Aim is to stay around yellow. I know once we hit the climbs, if you're a lighter rider, it's going to be very difficult to keep that modulated and under control. But please, guys, remember, the aim is to stay behind Russ. So essentially, the front of the ride is here. MLIC Ennis and Russ are the riders who are rolling at the front. And you can just see, I think, Kieran just in there as well. This is the front of the ride. Basically, anybody in front of this, forget it. We don't put a fence on. We just don't let people in next time round. It's really easy. So it's like a red beacon just working at the back of the gang at the moment. I think everybody just coming back together. It's a really difficult route. This really does test our riders' ability for their suppleness and see whether they have the ability, the suplex to move forward, to drop back as the pace varies by coming back together. And look at that. Brilliantly done. Well done, guys. A few riders just drifting at the front, just keeping an eye on and coming back in, and it is a real tricky course to be able to respond, and it takes a little bit of time for everybody just to get that feel through the pedals. Remember, it's about rolling with the gang, and this is a really important learning lesson basically for anyone who wants to race, not just on esports, on Swift or any racing discipline. Really, it's key because you need to be able to ride the gang, use the gang to your advantage, make sure you keep everybody together, being able to pull everybody all together. Absolutely key for our riders as you come through, and it's a key skill for everybody. So really, really is important that people learn that, learn how to ease off, just to sit in there, let everybody come back together again. Just seeing a bit of a fracture at the back. We're going to take a little bit of a run back towards Keith. Here, I think just keeping an eye on Tickers at the back here. Mark Tickle, of course, over at the hill climb at Hardwick, and they're just picking the pace up. So here we go. It looks like Mark and Keith on the way around these twists and turns. Remember, it's not all that long before we go up on to the top of the climbing before we start dropping back down again. These roller coaster sections are really, really tough stuff. Oh, looks like, it's Steve James. Evening, Steve. Or it was Steve James. It's just spat me off. It doesn't like you, Steve. My computer just binned me off from looking and saying hello. That's not good. I don't know. See if we can go back and find him again. I've lost him now. Looks like Stu Cheeseman in here. Hello, mate. Good to see you on the gang again, Mr. Forbes. Mr. Osmond back once again. Traditional kit for Osmond there. Looks like Sadler tucked in here. A few riders just starting to just ease back a little bit. Remember, of course, now coming into that Jurassic Park of the area here on our way through. So just making our way through the jungle section here. I think it's really interesting, and I think this lot have all spoken too soon. Because I just saw Gareth Mason, somebody else. Gareth Mason just come up on my screen. It may well be we are going to see the return of the Fat Cyclist. Here he is. He's on. He's here. He's in our midst. He's back. The one and only Mr. Mason has made it. A man whose legs are better than his tech skills. Sorry, apologies. Sorry, mate. He's bigger than I am, actually. He thumped me. And he's one of our really nice guys who we always actually do like on here, mostly because he gives Russ a whole load of earache on the way through as well. So Carl Morley on board, Neil Morning here. Looks like Coos looks back in the gang with us. Tom Lindley, good ride by Tom. At the hill climb. Let's take a little bit of a look who else is in here. Looks like pretty much everybody riding around well at the moment. So here on the Donny Chaingang, we are currently about 2/3 of the way around in distance on lap number 1 of 2 laps of the Donny Chaingang, the DCG, the Tuesday and Thursday rides starting in September, running right the way through to April. The WOW DCG, the Women Only Wednesdays Donny Chaingang, that runs from October through to March.
Guest star, Mr. Joel Gray.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Muppet Show tonight.
And we're back. Can't imagine why. Would I do a thing like that? Would I find a theme tune for those on the front? I don't know. It was just an invasion of string-operated things, honest guff. Anyway, back to the Chaingang, back to the middle of the gag. You could tell I've spent way too much time. I have to say something that will probably get edited out on all of the channels. It's probably just cost us any YouTube coverage, but it's well worth it. It means I'm going to have to do a copyright claim counter somewhere. Here we go. Riders up and over the top. Looks like somebody already knows when to engage the anvil hit. Nicely done. I'm trying to work out if that's Chris Canham on his way over the top. Looks like a few people just getting some KOMs. Rob Wimble doing that. Here we go. Let's have a little look now. Looks like Keith and Mark on the way up the climb. We've got James in between. It looks like Ian Bale just needing to push on here. And of course, former boss of a rider may well be still second claiming. In fact, these days you can have as many clubs as you want. So here we go. Looks like Simon running using his ghost there. So nice effort by Mark Tickle and Keith Richardson. Keith and Mark working well behind. And that gang just spinning out on the way through. Chris Cannon getting a 2 on the way through. Gareth, Jim Henson's going to get all of our millions of monetization. I don't really care if they get the monetization because we don't get any. I'd rather they just didn't mute the video. Or even worse, block the video in certain regions, which is what we then spend most of the night after the Chaingang's doing. All the other music on the show actually is copyright free by Mocha and Dan Lebowski. They are two great artists who are the saviours of a lot of people with YouTube. So a lot of content creators find them really, really handy to have now. Just in with Ian Bale. Looks like Neil Beaver's on. You can see Neil's in here. Neil not currently in the UK. Riding from... In fact, I'd never asked him where he was at the moment. Just having to push on to try and get back in again. So I think when we get off the far side, we're going to get a group forming here. They're working really hard. I mean, we're seeing 4 or 5 watts per kilo off this gang just behind. But it looks to me like they have their work cut out to get back to the group, unless the group in front are really kind here. And they do have Chris James, Mark Tickle and Keith Richardson behind, so it is still strung out a little bit. You can see the beacon in front. That's the back of that yellow beacon group. We're trying to dodge the trees to get a view down. So let's take a little bit of a look. I mean, the red beacon, I think, at the moment is at 115. These guys are at about 121 down. And we've got quite a few riders here. We've got Burr, Grant, James, all in that sort of minute marker behind. So Grant, Burr and Beavers, they're pretty close together. You can just see Mark, I think, just coming around in the distance when this road straightens out for a little bit. We've got Burr just on this, so you just see Mark on his way through as well. These guys just trying to push in. SR68 on his way. He's trying to get onto the back of that. Looks like... Raccoon is on his way. What's just been distanced here? He's the man who we would expect to be right up at the front. I'm not sure whether this is a deliberate tactic just to go back and help a few of the riders. These roller coasters really are tricky on the way through. A few people taking shortcut, cyclo crossing the way in and through, just trying to get back in. Now, just seeing some very interesting moves from Craig Herring there as he went in through the grass. But I don't think we're going to see our red beacon again. But Mark Grant, I think, is probably our last rider that we can get back on. It's about 19 seconds from Mark. He's probably the last rider who could make it back in again. It's going to need a bit of a push from him. We've got Raccoon just about 5 seconds off with Calejo on the way down here. We've got, this is going to be Ian Bale and Neil Beavers. We've got... Burr just a little bit further back as well. That's Ali Burr. So here we go. This is Ali and Mark. Come on, Ali, get on that wheel of Mark here. This is where you got to push on, buddy. So if Mark and Ali work together and then Neil and Ian work together, they've got a good chance of getting back on again. And it's going to depend on what the group can do. So here we go. Come on, Ali. Let's see how he's going to go. It's going to be really interesting. So we are going to see who can go. We've got Mark Grant, we've got Ali Burr, we've got Neil Beavers, we've got Ian Bale, all working like mad. SR68 working to try and get back into that group. You can see that that yellow beacon, apologies, just on the front. So that group is going to need to back off a touch here. Remember, it isn't easy. It is the Donny Chaingang, and it does ramp up. These guys have got to be working. So here the riders are just trying to come through. You can just see the leading group come across there. Let's see. We're going to see if we can give them a chance on the way through. I think the group wanting to get these guys back on again. The gap behind, I think, has opened up. It has indeed. Just looking for our next rider. That's going to be Grant. So Mark Grant at the moment now 18 seconds, 19 seconds down on Bale and Co. 30 seconds down. That's 1.8. It's not going to be a case of coming back. But Mark, Ali, you've got the guys behind. You've got a red beacon in the shape of Keith Richardson, the red bus forming. The question is, will we get back in now? Are we going to see Ali and Ian Bale, SR68, get back on? I think Jeff Saysel's dropped back to give him a hand here. And if Jeff's doing that, thank you very much, Jeff. So let's see. It is a group up in front. I think they are going to just, I think they're knocking that pace off by the look of that group a little bit, thank goodness. Let's see who's going to go. Can we get some guys coming back? We're going to need some instructions from Russ, I think, on sending a few back. I think Gareth Mason's going to come back. There's a group of 4 riders with the potential to get back here. Jeff Saysel trying to shepherd in Ian Bale, SR68, Neil Beavers, and that is going to be your group. So let's have a little bit of a look. Let's see if they can get back in again. Behind them, I think Ali Burr is going to be waiting for Mark Tickle here. So Tickers and Richardson still continuing along nicely. Let's see if this group, so this is Neil Beavers, it's SR68. Craig Herring, I think, has dropped back to give him a hand as well here. He certainly has done. So this is the group that should be able to get back on. We need a few more breadcrumbs, I think, back a little bit more of a trail. Neil doing a good job here. So Beavers is getting a shout from Craig Herring. Craig, one of our real stars of the Donny Chaingang, pulling people back in through towards the front. You can see that line in front. You see Jimmy Allen's out there. You've got people like Gareth Mason. So here we go. Let's see how they go. Kieran Brown just dropping back a touch, I think, to give him a hand. Come on, Kieran, time to give it a bit of a boost. So it looks like Jimmy Allen just dropping. Here they come. So the back of that group is now currently going to be Kieran. And these guys are going to be trying to pick the back of the group. They're just about there. Look at this. We've got so many people coming back. They're all going to try and get back in together. Come on, Ollie. Time to kick it. This is where we see who's got the pace and who's been riding strongly and who knows how it feels. Ollie Akers, who's with us tonight, of course, taking a win in the Yorkshire Cross, if I'm not much mistaken. Good to see Ollie on here. So come on, Ollie. Give it a push, buddy. This is a man who can high-five whilst riding down the national cyclocross on his way in and through. So good to see. He is looking good at the moment. Got to keep pushing. So a bit of a squeeze back together going to be required. I'm just saying Julie Leodis doing a bit of cyclocross on the way through. So here we go. How are we going? We've got, I think, Mark Grant and Ali Bird just dropping. They could be heading back in. Come on, Ollie. You need to give it a kick, mate, because they're going to leave you, buddy, here. So just going to take a look at Ollie. Ollie's doing 3.7. Looks like Neil may well have a dropout. Either that he's blowing chunks there. And that's 0 watts per kilo. That after all that chasing to get in. Ollie is not doing much communicating. It may well be he's on a youngster's account, which means he can't message. He can't see the message boards. He can't reply to message boards. We'll see if Andy can throw a message out for him instead. He's trying to get back. So Andy Akers letting us know that Ollie is trying to get back on again here. So let's see if we can get a few back for Ollie. He went back to try and help a few people, and then he got taken out of the back. Let's have a look who's gone back for him. It's all about seeing who can go and put a bit of a push in. Now he's starting to kick on here. Just giving it a kick on the way through. Tom Lindley is in here. Neil, you are going to miss the rejoin, mate. You're not going to be able to get back in terms of the ride. So you can't do a late join. Late join is up to 30 minutes. Neil, what you're going to need to do is try and jump in with Mark Grant. So Mark is currently about 15 seconds behind you. He's a great rider, is Mark, actually. Really good rider, really experienced on the Chaingang and on this course as well. So he's coming up behind you, Neil. Great rider to ride with. Behind you, you've also got Keith Richardson and Mark Tickle. Again, both very experienced riders. The lead group going in underneath the gantry there, and underneath, so it's one lap to go. Yeah, Mark Grant, not the man to take on in a sprint, by the way. Just so you've been warned, those forearms, they're not Popeyes that he's borrowed. They are his, and they're like that in real life as well. It's not a man to mess with. Don't go arm wrestling Mark Grant. So it looks like Neil and Mark, Keith, and the other Mark Tickers. So Tickers and Mark Grant all there. Then Neil Beavis. Looks like Hardy and Burt now starting to be taken out of the back. Simon, a.k.a. Sean, a.k.a. Simon Runner, a.k.a. Northern Monkey, on his way through. Looks like Kieran Brown just squeezing back in, just helping people there. Looks like Doug Leash just on the back of the gang here. Good to have you back in the gang once again. AD doing a good job. On lightweights, interesting choice. So the group motoring on at the moment, and certainly looking to me like they are able to get this done pretty smoothly as they come in and through. So only once more at the big climb before they come back down in and through. And if we send our helicopter up into the air, I think we get a good view of the riders all blobbing back together again. I love the fact that people they spend the time, Jeff Cecil, for example, from Conti, looking for seeing like where everything is and looking to see how long that speculation on when is Russ going to call it. What's he feeling like today? Is he feeling in a good mood? Is he in a grumpy mood? Has he had enough coffee? I don't know. We'll see. Jimmy Allen can smell his dinner, so he's not going to be wanting it to be a short one and only go for the last couple of 100 metres. But of course, it's all down to Russ. As our ride leaders are going to be really interesting to follow them. So don't forget, you've got Russ on the Chaingang on the DCG. When Russ is not available, the bear is in his cave or he's gone elsewhere hunting for honey. Then we have the wolf, that is Jimmy Allen. On the WOW DCG we have the boss, and that is Emma, of course, Emma Martin. And of course we also have Alison Kinlock on the WOW DCG when Emma's not available, but still plenty of riders who are going to be no doubt standing up, jumping up and volunteering for the Red Beacon Roll as well. Please don't hesitate to get on there. So the Red Beacon Roll and the DCG, all run by Gail Phillips. Gail are supreme over the spreadsheet, and we'll see when that is going to go here. And of course our Red Beacons then have their work cut out in sweeping everybody up. In terms of the WOW DCG, well, that is all Emma, so don't hesitate to get in touch with her if you're planning on going on there. If you do know riders who are part of the Pro Peloton, then don't forget we are supporting the Pro Peloton so any rider who's running for a professional team, basically tell them to get in touch with me. It's Matt at Full Speed Events, team name, their name, and we are giving some support to professional riders in terms of looking after them and getting them onto the gang. So if you want all the details, then make sure you go see the pages that on Velo UK.net on Larry's page, and don't forget, of course, you can always get in touch with us on Facebook or Twitter. You can send me an email, or of course you can try and get hold of me on WhatsApp or similar. Quick heads up though, if we're in the middle of a show, odds are I'm not going to answer any kind of communication. If you do, you're doing really well, believe me. So this group working well, nobody really taking out. I don't think we better use our camera up on the top there, because if we use the helicopter, it's not going to show our riders coming in and through. So, no Colin Bell at the moment. Colin on holiday at the moment. He's not on the Chaingang at the moment. Last seen on a yacht. So Craig in here, looking pretty comfy in here. Mr. Pearson doing all right. Seen a few people binning off things like anvils. Don't want them rolling. It's not going to help them. Everybody's on the hunt for something good when for when Russ calls the that moment. So let's I'm just trying to jump in with Russ at the moment. So let's take a look at Russ. 100 beats per minute. So 100 beats per minute, 94 revs per minute from Russ, 192, 170 watts ticking along at the moment. So Russ doing about 2.5 watts per kilo. Russ riding on, of course, that Pinarello with the disc in and the deep front. So the group working well, not really stretching it out too much at the moment. Let's see how we get on as these riders continue onwards. Looks good to me. Everybody really sort of sitting comfortably in that bunch. Everybody's quite comfy at the moment. We're on 43 minutes of riding done. Heading in towards 45 minutes. We've got 186 meters of climbing done out of the 292. And don't forget, of course, 46.9 is where we should be. But basically, when we come in and through the rock arch next time. Question was, who's going to take it? Who's going to be able to roll it through? Who will take the victory here today? It may not be a race, but it doesn't half look like one when we get up and running. So at the moment, the riders riding smoothly through here. No worries at all. The gang all together. Bit of a truce, I think, being called at the moment. So really interesting, Dale Williams there. This route favours the brave. Gone long, has taken it each time. That's definitely true, and I think there's got to be a case of seeing how early dare you go. Can you take a group clear? Can you break it up? Where is it going to go? I mean, we're on the flat at the moment, and I think if it goes now, it's going to get very strung out very, very quickly, and then there's going to be people scrambling for groups. If it goes on the climb, there's not much advantage in being in a pack on the way through. We'll see how that pans out. I'm loving Russ making up the rules here. Gareth can't contest the finish because he joined late. Yeah, it would be taking the mickey somewhat, to be fair. I've got to agree with Russ there. It is a case of the going to be interesting as he heads in. Joined at like 29 minutes past, and then trying to take it by sitting out some of the warm-up. Yeah, probably, to be honest, joining in late is actually harder because you don't actually get any kind of warm-up. You're straight in, and it's already starting to kick quite quickly. We'll see. I'm loving Vin Donny, who said he can provide a lead out though. Yeah, how's he going to stop? This is Gareth Mason. He's got his own blooming gravitational field. That could be entertaining. So let's see who is going to take this out on the front. It's looking very pedestrian at the moment. Almost looking as slow as me out today. How fast are we going? 37 kph? Yeah, that's about right. So in through and past the garage. Our riders are looking like they're working well, keeping on eating up the kilometres. You're not wrong. The riders flying along, and just going to take a little bit of a drop through this group. Let's have a little bit of a check. Jeff Saisler in here, Mr. Holwell in here, Forbes in here. Forrest in as well. Billy No Mates looking pretty comfy in this. The Terminator herself, Tracy in this pack. So the helicopter up over the top of our riders at the moment, and certainly looks to me like the riders have got this pretty dialed in at the moment. Tracy just sat nicely in that pack. Russ just in the back of the group, just keeping everybody together as we make our way through this Vegas-esque part of town. Early Vegas, that's for sure. So this group looking good at the moment, just making the way through, just dropping down in with our riders. So let's take a little bit of run back. I'm going to take a gamble. Some run back through our group at the moment. Very quickly indeed. Just taking a look at Mr. Hardy at the moment. Distance from the gang. Beavers and Grant working together well. Richardson and Tickers not all that far behind them. So they've got the work to do to get to Beavers and Grant. There's about 40 seconds separating them. I'm going to remember that as we head in and through. Oh, good to see you've got Mr. Conley in here as well. Excellent. Because he's made the gang. So Conley nicely riding in here at the moment, just on the back of the gang as it comes up on to this climb. So Martin Conley just nicely ensconced in the centre now, just working his way into the middle of the group. Behind you can just see that pack. It is pretty much together. Just seeing one rider off the back there on a what's going to be a Tron bike. I'm desperately trying to work out who it is at the back there. I need better eyesight. Not quite sure I can spot everybody anyway, but at the moment, very, very difficult. Now, just watching this group coming in and through, looks to me like the gang are pretty much all together here behind Russ. Let's get the drone cam up in the air. Here we go. So at the moment, the gang all behind Russ, all nice. And the go, go, go has gone. So the go, go, go has gone. This is it now. It's going to be really interesting. Let's see who has got the pace to take this out already. We're seeing the riders on the front start to stretch this. And looks to me like the usual suspects. Drabble, Brown up there. Ollie Akers in there. Rob Varty in there. Looks like Hagger trying to hold on here. Now, it could well be that the man to try and beat here today could be Ollie Akers. He's on some serious form. The youngster getting quicker and quicker, but Kieran Brown is quick. Drabble, of course, definitely one of those riders you wouldn't discount. John Wild in here from Bellevue. Got to say a massive thank you to John, to Ben and all of the gang. They are absolutely key, and Good to see that they are working very, very well on the behind the scenes, making sure that we get all those graphics and they all tie into the courses. A lot of work being done by them, so fantastic to see that continuing on. Was an invaluable tool from the professional peloton that transfers its way into the Chaingang. So down we go. Varty at the moment up on the front with Kieran Brown. Looks like Steve James is in the mix behind, just keeping an eye on Steve here. Just jumping in with John while I'm going to try and get into Steve, because I did say we'd go try and jump in with him. And Hope Rider in here. Should be about 7 foot tall. It's definitely looks tall enough and lean enough to be Steve James. He can't show off his mountain biking skills on the avatars in here, but this group are a very select group. So Tom Hepton in here. We've got Harry Hudson in the mix. Isaac Oliver in as well. Just watching this roll through. Pritchard is in here. Rollitt in here. So really is a who's who of the Chaingang. Looks like AD Dench, who is on serious form, looking good. Making his way in, but this is the leading group at the moment. So this is group number 1 on the road. The gap is opening behind. You can see on the map at the top, if we turn that to a 2D view, you can see just how far behind that Yellow Beacon group is. Looks like Tom Lindley has made the cut as well. Trying to risk going towards the back of the group and see what that gap is back. So 2 riders, and that's going to be Jones and Dalgleish trying to get in touch. Will Jones and AD Dalgleish, I think, are going to make the junction as they come in. So they have made that group, that leading the group, and that means there's about 22 riders, I think, in this group at the moment. If we go to the front of the group behind, easier said than done, 25 riders back. It looks like Russ are not wanting to let them go, and it may well be that we're going to see Russ pull this group back in. This is group number 2 on the road, and another big group here. That's going to be about 18, 19 riders strong here. Dick Smurlin here, Mason Hagger. Looks like it made it. Callaway's in here. Jeff Sasel in this group. Looks like Jimmy Allen in here as well. So this is group number 2. Meanwhile, a little bit further up the road, I think group number 1 is starting to split again. We're going to try and get right up to the front of this group. So here we are. We're just dealing with Thorpe now. And once again, it's starting to split. Don't be fooled by the fact that our camera is looking back at making. We can make it look downhill, believe me, if we try. So at the moment, you can see Thorpe in here. Let's see if we can get right in and get a decent angle on the gradient here. So Thorpe with Wild alongside here. You've got Varty in the mix. These riders coming streaming through. We're going to go underneath the boulders in this gorge as it climbs up 3% at the moment. Let's see if they're going to get there. Harry Hudson pushing on now. So Hudson now leading them out. We're on 9 watts per kilo. And this is some push. Now the question is, can they stay with him? He's got the advantage on the climb. But remember, we drop off the top. And then we go out again from there. Going to be very interesting to see who can take this out. So our riders working well. Hudson in the lead. We take a little bit of a look behind. Thorpe is leading the chase behind at the moment. So certainly looks like Thorpe, Brown, Varty, Wild, Oliver. The riders chasing. Let's see how they go as they come up over the top here. So the riders continue to push here at the moment. Hudson's got the gap. Will he take this all the way to the finish? He's taking clear a select group of 5 chasers. Thorpe, Wild, Brown, along with Isaac Oliver and Rob Varty a little bit further back. Ollie Akers chasing to get back onto the group. He's in the green at the moment. Then it's Tom Hepton. Hepton has immediately behind him Pritchard. So Matt Pritchard trying to stay with the pace at the front. Now we're starting to pay that price. Looks like AD Dench just being distanced here. And that gap really has opened up. Craig Herring. Looks like Oliver in here, Rollitt in here, Tom Lindley is in here. Tom back in his traditional kit. Good to see you back in the orange, mate. So Neil from the Crosscast clearly on some form. He's training for the Three Peaks. If you want to know all about Three Peaks, don't forget, not long until you can download the latest, the Crosscast podcast. Make sure you tune in for that. We are going to just take a little bit of a check back. Looks like Eddie Dowgley, Steve James, looks like Russ Downing, Finley Hudson, Jeff Saso, Gareth Mason, Green, Emsley, Allen, Sadler, West. It looks like Callaway in here, Bailey in this, Holwell in here. Looks like Steve Wilson in here as well. But the leaders, as they come up to the top of that climb, are going to come through over pretty much together, and it's going to be a very fast time coming up and over. So Varty currently leading them down this descent now, and certainly looks to me like a few people saving an anvil in use there. Really interesting move there. Ollie Akers actually taking the fastest time up the climb at the moment. Just going to take a little bit of a look back at Ollie. Ollie taking the fastest time up the climb, but he couldn't get in to the lead group at the very base of it. He got back on the very top of the climb on those last few meters, pretty much, compared to the drop down. And this group is going to be the group that's going to be contesting the finish. So we've got Kieran Brown, John Wild, Ollie Akers. We've got in this group as well Mark Thorpe, Harry Hudson, Rob Varty, Isaac Oliver. A little bit further back, that gap has opened over the top of the climb, and it's to this. This is group number 2 on the road. So this is our second group at the moment. So the riders who are leading this out are going to be riders, I think this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So 8 to 15th. 8th to 15th places coming from Group 2. That's the 80 Dench group. So that's 8th to 15th place. And then it's going to be the Russ Downing group, and that is going to be 16th place downwards. And don't ask me to count all that far back. I can't count that many riders. So still coming through. And then this group could come back together. This is going to be a strong pack to chase down, because you've got people like Jimmy Allen here, Craig Herring in here. You've got Mason in this group as well. Neil from the Crosscast, Dale Williams in this group. Now, if they all work together, 12 seconds is the group that's playing for 8th to 15th position. I think the leaders, though, they are long gone. There's not going to be much chance of bringing these guys back as they come in to the finish. Still on that descent. We're going to see if we can pan out and maybe get a little bit of a view back to the Beacon group or the chasing group behind. I think they're just too far behind. 37 seconds now to group number 2. So group 1 at the moment, the leaders on your screen. It is 7 riders. 7 riders clear by 39 seconds. The riders behind, they are the positions 8 through to 15, so yet more riders behind who are all working well, but they are not closing the gap down on this. The leaders here at the moment, Varty just puts a little bit of a kick to roll over the top of that hill. It really is a roller coaster ride here today. You know, try and drop down alongside our riders and watch the gradient change. Watch those riders as we come up the hill, then roll over the top. Getting the kick, getting the power right is key here, because it allows you to use the minimum amount of effort and get the maximum amount of speed out for what you are putting in. And that is key. So drop down into the descent, then expect to see a little kick over the top. The power numbers will go up, and then they're going to roll down again. So 33 seconds back. This is the group that's chasing. In second group, it is Rollitt, Dench, Osman, Herring, Pritchard, Lindley, Hepton. And going to have Oliver in here as well. The second group on the road. Group 3 now at 18 seconds. Let's try and take a look at how big this group is. We're going to go out with our drone cam. So this is group number 3 on the road. And then we're going to look for group number 4. I think is going to be this one. So group 4 still left in no man's land, chasing our leaders. Leaders at 137 up the road now. So we're going to try and jump back in. Our poor lonely avatar sat there on his own. So this is Rob Varty's group that we're in. This is the leading group here. Rob Varty in the black and red. Our drone just going on a suicide mission there to try and jump in with the riders. You can just see that distance back. So immediately behind our riders, it is group number 2 coming in to the bends. Yellow beacon further back still. And you're going to be able to see those groups behind as we come in through the flats here today. So at the moment, it is group number 1 separated by 30 seconds from group number 2. Further minute back to group number 3. Russ saying let's go after group number 2. That's going to take some doing. There's nearly a minute between the riders, but that is not necessarily going to stay that way. Remember, this will yo-yo as they come through, but if you look at where our riders are now, they're now coming back onto the valley road. They're coming into the desert. Remember, it's 2.4k from the entry onto the circuit. You can just see the pens in the distance beyond our riders here. So as we look over our riders' shoulders, we were going through there. That's in fact where the full speed events avatar sat there very lonely on its own. It didn't go anywhere very much. It hasn't got many levels or anything, just because it never gets actually out to play. It just gets left behind every time. So don't forget, all of the coverage coming out to you on a multitude of platforms. It's on the Full Speed Events page on Facebook. It's on the Donny Chaingang Facebook page. It's on Down in Cycling YouTube channel and the Full Speed Events YouTube channel, and on my Twitter feed as well, just for an extra place to be able to see it. So here we go. Riders working well. The gang are looking good at the moment. And you can see this is the leading group now. Question is, have they done enough to hold off the yellow beacon behind? They're less than 2k to the finish at the moment by my reckoning. And certainly looks like this is about who's got pace and power to go clear and who wants to leave it to a sprint. So at the moment, Hudson going on an aggressive mission. He's pushing on here, and this is going to take some doing. We're just going to take a quick drop back once this coalesces into either a living and breathing attack, or it's going to be a coming back together, and it hasn't worked out. Now, this is the group immediately behind. This is group 2, and look who's just behind them. It's a bit like Jaws. These guys are group 2. Immediately behind are group 3. What was nearly a minute's down to 5 seconds. So if they want positions 8 to 15, these riders have got to get the finger out and they've got to keep at bay the group behind. The pressure is on, and they are coming in front of this group. Our leaders at the moment all back together again according to our screens. So this is group 2 behind group 3. 5 seconds separating them out. These are our race leaders though. These are the guys who are looking to take away the win. You can just see that beacon group behind, just zigzagging its way through. Going to just get shadowed out by the edge of that mountain. Just go around the pillar here in the canyon. And at the moment, we're starting to run in. Remember, we're going to go around that right turn into that left-hand turn. We're currently in with Kieran. Let's see if he's got the sprint on him to match the fast boys on the front. It's now Ollie Akers who started to lead this out early. He goes through the sprint line. Remember, this is a 500-metre sprint line. So these riders now sub 500 metres to go. Has Akers gone too soon? I think Varty is going to come over the top of him here. Has Akers got anything left in the tank? He's going to have to answer this and kick again. Now Akers is doing this, but is he doing enough to bring him down? I think Varty just had a die on his knees there as he came through. He sprinted and he eased again. I don't think he's got enough to go with Ollie Akers. It's going to be Ollie Akers who takes the win. It's Varty immediately behind in second, then Hudson, then Wild, and then it's going to be the gang are chasing hard behind. That gap had opened up. I can see Mark Thorpe not going to be in with the mix. Good ride by Oliver there, by Brown, by Akers, Varty, Hudson, and Wild. I'll let you guys work it out on the videos. It came in and through. Now, Tom Hepton is going to lead the next riders in, or is he? It's going to be Tom Lindley who's going to get the march on him. So it's going to be Lindley, followed by Hepton, Herring, Osman, Williams, Pritchard. Looks like Dench coming through. Finley Hudson going through. Liam Callaway. Mason comes through. Russ is in and through that line. Just going to try and jump into our next riders coming through. Steve Wilson, our next rider, coming into the finish then. It's going to be Tom Hagger behind. Hagger, he's got 4 seconds. That group, not that far behind him. So going to have to just be careful. I think we're going to see a sprint out of that group behind. Not sure who's got the pace and the pressure to go clear. So as Russ says, find a group, roll it home. I'd be finding a group and hanging on for grid and death. Now, Vin Donahoe is going to be chasing hard here. Has he got the pace to stay with Kaleo? Kaleo's going to take this. I think he goes over the top there of Hagger. He's going to take this as he goes through the line. Then it's going to be Billy No Mates, followed by Donahoe, Forrester, Hagger, Malin, Zach Hutchins. Son coming through, Simon, a.k.a. Sean, followed by Dave Fulton, Matt Crease coming through, Sadler coming in. Wow, one after the other after the other. Incredibly fast out there today. Great riding by our riders. Wildlife keeping it all together. A fast day on this course. Don't forget, we're going to do it all over again on Thursday. Now, Cheeseman is leading this out. That is a risky option when you've got some serious powerhouses behind, including Morn. The question is, has Morn got the pace to come around the outside? He goes up on the shoulder. I think he has. He's got the power. He rolls it in there. So it's going to be Morn, followed by Tukey, Cheeseman, Forbes, Wimble, Connolly in that order. And then it should be Johnny Two Dogs after that, he says. So Connolly going through, then it's Johnny Two Dogs, the next rider out on the course, because Johnny and his and the best man with the paint gun everywhere. Let's have a little look. Next big sprint is coming behind him. Davis is trying to close the gap on him. He's got Johnny Two Dogs here. He's leading out actually from Wallace. So Owen Davis is going to come through clear of Wallace. Then it's going to be Stevens, Canham, Allen comes through. Looks like Briggs, Trevor Crehan coming through. Brown comes through. Morley. And it's going to be Emma Lysika Ennis coming in. Good ride by Emma once again. So to the fast ride by Emma Lysik. Harris Stevens through that line. Mason, Bobby Mason comes in through. Just going to try and drop back. I think our next rider should be Andy Akers. So Andy, the next rider heading in. He's 27 seconds up on the legend in his own lunchbox. That is Kai Hurst. So Kai, then Woodward, then should be Seeley. That's a very dangerous thing to say. Ladies first, I think you'll find you don't have a lot of choice in this one, Mr. Woodward, to be brutally honest. So Andy Akers in through the line and doing the business here today. Tracy, the Terminator, the legend that keeps the IRLs running with Vin Donahoe, doing an amazing job. Great to see them in here. And good to see Tracy yet again. Riding in to the finish, looking very, very strong indeed. No surprises there. So good to see Tracy in action. Apologies for not being able to grab a coffee and just seeing him disappear off our screen there. That's unusual. Don't often have that happen. So looks like we've been jumped out of the course, which means we are going to go for what is a little bit of a sneaky trick that we can pull up. And we're going to go all the way back to us, and then we're going to start at the back and work our way forwards until we get somewhere near the line. So if you come through in that little bit of a gap, Tracy used a ghost. You're dead right, mate. She's sneaky, that woman. She ghosted away on. And that answers your question. No, we can't see ghosts when they happen. We've got a guess just like you. Mean Terminator. That's a mean skill for Terminator to have. So here we go. Next rider in is going to be Gidley coming in and through the line here today. So well done to Alex. Alex Gidley in and finished ahead of SR68. Immediately behind SR68 is going to be Bayliss. So Chris Bayliss comes through just behind him. And then it is going to be Kerrigan. So Ken Kerrigan of Chef Wreck on his way in. So here we go. Ken Kerrigan of Chef Wreck just ahead of Julie Leonardo, and it's going to then be Joe Hardy, Mark Grant, Neil Beavers, Mark Tickle, Keith Richardson, in fact. Just hearing from Colin Bell. He's in Marmaris and he's watching on holiday. I hope you're having a good time. I'm not jealous of your holiday at all, buddy. I hope you're topping up the tan and keeping that beard clear of seaweed as well, mate. You know, don't want it getting tangled up. So, of course, Colin, one of our regular riders, along with Ken Kerrigan. Great to see them back on the gang. Just going to take a little bit of a drop back. So, Julie Leonardo has a company here in the shape of Joe Hardy. Joe just tucked on the wheels here on that Tron bike. Riding well at the moment in that Tour of California jersey. So Joe and Julie just going to come out of this turn. They've got that long sweeping running about 500 metres from that flashing orange banner on the right hand side. It always pays to know how long these are. You just look up at the left hand side on the screen and it tells you how long this sprint section is, at 0.5 of a K, and it's flat, so you know when to launch a sprint if you're going for a sprint finish. And I have to say, I know Julie probably got sore legs still from riding the Hardwick Hill climb. But Julie Leonardo, the rider pushing on at the moment from Bolsover and District, just putting a little bit of a gap in. Don't forget, of course, the official finish line is the one before the blue banner. The blue banner is a run down. You're warm down to the blue banner. It guarantees that we have a fixed point out on the course that is the same for everybody, because blue bands can in fact vary. So Julie Leonardo going through. Our next rider then it is going to be Joe Hardy. So well done, Joe. Joe going in and across the line. Our next rider should be Mark Grant and Neil Beavers at the moment. So as these riders make their way in just across at the side, somewhere over there. There we go. I knew it was around here somewhere. It's been a long, hot day. So our riders working well. Good to see everybody on there. Don't forget, guys, we bring you the Chaingang because we have the support of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang. Jump on and join. Monthly donation. You can donate right to the end of the season if you want. That means that we say thank you. You know, we're tight Yorkshiremen. We know you don't get out for now. We will get you a whole load of goods. And to do that, what we do is say thank you. All the guys up there, 1080, OTE, Gritty, Continental, Velaskin, Halo, Nonnas. They're the guys who look after you. They're the guys who are going to give you 25% off 1080, 20% off Gritty. You know, there's discounts coming out of their ears. Great Velaskin discounts in there. 20% off Velaskin. You get 10% off Ambassadors with the Donny Chaingang. You get 20%. To do so, just join up. You pay the money in. We spend your money on making the blinking show up and then the ride up and talking to everybody and fixing all the kit that we always invariably break. Not broken a new keyboard, which we just invested in again yet, but I'm sure it will with all that tapping to get a good view of our riders. Don't forget, it keeps the show on the road, it keeps the wheels rolling, so please do donate. Russ and I basically cover the cost of everything, and that money basically helps us cover those costs off. There's a lot of internet costs, a lot of hosting costs, as well as everything else, as you'd expect. Come on. This is 2022. Everything costs. Even Kit Kats costs a quid these days. So please, guys, make sure you donate. Join up. Get those discounts. So make sure that you maximise your riding, whether that's sitting comfortably in your Gritty kit because you've got the Velaskin chamois cream on, because you're riding on a great set of Halo wheels decked out in Continental tyres, that you've been fueled up by Nonnas to celebrate afterwards, or you're just looking the business in your 1080s, or of course you use that gel from OTE. It all works. That's why we have them. All of our sponsors from last year, all of our big sponsors and supporters who looked after everybody last year have come back, and that says bundles, because that means everybody uses it and enjoys it. So we've got to say massive thank you to them. So our next riders are about to head into the finishing line. Let's jump back in with them. So at the moment we're riding in with Neil Beavers and Mark Grant. So the duo is just about to come in towards that archway. I'm not sure whether we'll get a sprint from the guys coming in. I think Neil's just pushing on here. Just keeping an eye as they come in. They're going to be very close, I think, as they come in towards the line. But it looks like Neil and Mark go over. The roll down to the blue banner to come. And that leaves us with 2 more riders to come. And that is going to be 2 of our great riders who we've seen week in, week out. So Keith Richardson and Mark Tickhill on their way into the start-finish line here on Sand and Sequoias. Don't forget, of course, next week we have got lots more rides, as we have every week. And that is going to continue onwards right the way through to the end of April. We want you enjoying your riding. We want you to make friends. We want you to get out there and ride. Have that extra bonus of riding with other people. Do that. Join the gang. You can always register for a ride. And if you can't donate for a month, totally get that, guys. Just, if you do have something spare, chuck it in. Whether it's the price of a coffee or whether you're feeling particularly flush because you've won the lottery, please do send it over. We put it all to good use, believe me. You won't find me on a yacht in Marmaris, it has to be said. That's probably because I'm far too busy bringing you the chain gang. So here we go. Our riders coming into the finish. Our red beacon on these way in. So let's jump back in with them. We're going to follow our red beacon in along with Mark Tickhill here. Tickers from the Sitwell CC in the grey, orange and white. Our beacon is, of course, Keith Richardson. Keith doing an amazing job once again. We've got to say a massive thank you to Keith and to all of our beacons as they come in and through. Over the line they go, led through by Mark Tickhill. Ticker's on his way through. Keith Richardson following on the way. And well done, gents. Warm down, be smart. Spin it in through to that finishing line. So as our riders roll the way into that finish, it just leaves me to say a massive thank you to everybody who's on the gang today. Don't forget, of course, it's all made possible by the guys that you see over there. Please make sure you support the people who support your sport. Without them, we can't keep on bringing you the Chain Gang. And, of course, don't forget, we are going to be back on Thursday for another Donny Chain Gang with me, Matt Payne. So from everybody in the Chain Gang, from everybody here at Full Speed Events, enjoy your riding, stay safe. We'll see you again. That's going to be, I think, if I get it right, on Thursday.